Hello and welcome to my channel. So I guess I am in my TV recap era. We are here in the spring and it is this time where most shows that run kind of on that old formula of a 22 episode season, they are ending their run right now. I think a lot of us have gotten super spoiled by like the streaming services situation where you just get 10 episodes at a time, or in the case of Love is Blind, 8 episodes and then 2 and then one disastrous kind of live reunion. Wait, no, it's not really live. Come back later and watch it. Oh, it's not available when we told you you could watch it. Just a mess. Right. But for the traditional shows, the primetime network shows, which I don't know that there's a whole lot of them left that people really watch. But for those shows, now is the time they're starting to air their series and season finales. And one show in particular, Abbott Elementary, had their season finale last week. And it was really important to me as a person that I respond to this because I didn't watch Abbott for a really long time. I was like, opposed to it. Not because it's a bad show, not at all, but because I was still so close to my experience as a teacher, and I would turn it on and it was like my eye would just start, I would just get very hot. I did not want to watch a sitcom that looked so similar to stressful experiences and situations that I'd been through. And it was super similar. From the storylines to the characters. I actually talked about the first episode on my channel way back in January of 2022. I have since taken that video down because of the place that I was in whenever I recorded it. Emotionally, I was still bitter. Specifically, some comments that I made about some of the plot points. But anyway, I've since taken that down. I will link it though in the description box of this video so you guys can kind of see the difference. Yeah, I did watch the first episode, and after the first episode, I was like, I'm not gonna do this to myself. No more. However, I could not help but notice that Abbott continued to be, first of all, people were talking about it all over social media. And that's when you know that a show really clicks with audiences these days. It's not from like the Nielsen reviews or whatever people used to look at, or the Nielsen numbers. I guess they still look at that. But for me, as a person who is not an official data analyst or anything like that, I'm just watching kind of from the sidelines. The way you can really tell that something is clicking with audiences is how much they're talking about it on social media. Are you seeing clips from people recording it on their TVs as they're watching and uploading it to TikTok to open up certain conversations? Are you seeing people turn certain scenes into edits, that they post on TikTok and on Twitter? Are certain characters becoming iconic GIFs or memes? That's how you can really tell, like, okay, this show is connecting with audiences. So I started seeing that with Abbott. I started seeing certain scenes pop up on social media and I was like, okay, so people are really liking this. Then they started winning tons of awards and they did well at the Emmys this year and they were doing good at other award shows. And I was just like, okay. And I was thinking to myself, is this show extremely funny and I'm missing out on it? Because I would hate that. I want to laugh, I want to chuckle. So it is with that attitude that I went into watch Abbott Elementary, all of the episodes, right after I finished, I believe it was Love is Blind, and then I finished the recent season of You. So I was definitely in the mood for something that was lighthearted, that was funny, and especially if it's as excellent as people were saying, I was like, let's see this. I'm excited. And what I found was not what I was expecting at all. First thing that I will say is Abbott Elementary is not incredibly funny. You need to leave. I'm sorry. It's not a laugh out loud funny show. At least I will say this. The first episodes we got, and it's still early. They just finished their second season, so it's still early. But the first set of episodes we got, the first 13, those were funny. Those definitely had some laugh out loud moments. I chuckled out loud for sure. The second season, I didn't really find myself just like exclaiming and like laughing out loud or holding my sides, tears running down my cheeks. Like it wasn't really those moments for me. I'll tell you what show did do that though, just a really quick segue. Let's segue really quickly. A recent show that I watched that did do that was actually hilarious, like laugh out loud funny, was Jury Duty. If you have not seen Jury Duty, I'm just gonna tell you really quickly, if you are looking for something to watch that is going to make you guffaw, like loudly, that is the show for you. Let me give you some background on Jury Duty real quick. It is a show from the producers of The Office. So it's got that same documentary style with the confessionals. It looks very similar to Abbott Elementary and Modern Family and Parks and Recreation. All of those like 2010 shows that incorporated that style. That's what you're seeing here. And it revolves around a group of jurors who are listening to the most ridiculous case you've ever heard in Los Angeles. And every juror, except for one, is an actor. And they all know that the case is fake, except for this one guy. And the reason why the show works is because these people went and found their straight man. They went and found the kind of person that can stand tall and resolute in the face of extreme chaos without breaking. Many times things happen to this guy during the show. The characters do the most ridiculous things. He sees outlandish stuff, but he's so pure of heart that whatever happens doesn't shake him. At the end of the series, when it's revealed to him that everything is fake and the producers are kind of talking about what went on, they keep telling him, we always thought, okay, today's the day he quit. Today's the day he loses it. Today's the day he walks away. And no matter what we threw at you, you never did. And what I loved about that show was that, like Love is Blind, it was a social experiment. It was a show where people needed to see when you bring in somebody who is generally good, they don't have any outward crazy, they're not going to do anything in a group that's going to sabotage the well-meaning of the group. They're the type of person that we feel we could trust, even in the most ridiculous of situations. They are the hero. When you bring them in and you give them all kinds of random chaos, how much does it take before they break? Consistently at the end of the show, they tell this guy, we're so proud of you. You have in some way reignited some kind of faith that we all needed to see in humanity again, or that we all needed to gain back in humanity. You are an incredibly special person. And I was looking at that and I was like, that's how a lot of people, when they say check on your strong friends, those are the friends they're talking about. The kind of people that don't have any outward crazy, or at least they don't display that to others. They're the kind of people that people feel comfortable bringing their chaos to, because they don't really have chaos of their own. They're not chaotic on their own. And they're the kind of people that tend to be surrounded a lot by people, because people feel like when you're here, you redeem the rest of this group. And so I saw that and I was in tears by the end of the show, because people were so impressed with Ronald. And even Ronald was impressed with Ronald. Ronald's the name of the guy who doesn't know what's going on. But it's so absurd that I was definitely laughing out loud multiple times. And for me, that's what was missing, I think, from the comedy of Abbott, is that it's not absurd. And maybe that's because I worked in a school, but nothing that happens is something that would never happen. Nothing that happens is something that I'm like, wait, they did what? For the most part, if you've worked in a school, the show feels very familiar. The scenarios feel very familiar. Everything feels real. And so I may not have laughed out loud a lot of times because it's not like a crazy situation. And I guess that's what my brain needs to see. But after I finished the entire season and watched some episodes again and again, I realized that the comedy is not what makes Abbott great. What makes Abbott great is a combination of so many other little things. So the first thing is that, unlike Jury Duty, Abbott doesn't have a hero. Now, we do have a main character that kind of starts off, Janine, and she's like telling us, whatever, about her belief in the school and her belief in the students and blah, blah, blah. But ultimately, Janine is flawed. And Abbott lets us see that. Yes, we love her for her optimism and her energy, but we also note opportunities where she needs to grow, and she's allowed to do so. Even a character like Barbara, Miss Barbara Howard, who is supposed to be this religiously sound, super ethical, super moral, very talented teacher who's been doing this for years. She's unshakable. Even someone like her is given a moment to both be a hero and be chaotic. One of the episodes this past season, Barbara started a fire accidentally because she had a candle on her desk. And when they find out who did it, they're like, oh, it was Barbara. She's our non-chaotic person. She's fine, whatever. But it actually takes somebody coming in from outside of the social bubble to say, there's more to this. the reason why she had that candle burning is what is actually bothering her. That's where her chaos is. She's not just a hero. She needs to be looked at in a different way to fully grow and fully self-actualize. And so I think that that is something that's cool about the show, is that there is no Ronald. There is no straight man. There is no character that everybody else looks to kind of like redeem their situation or redeem what's happening here. Every character is allowed to be a hero and to be chaotic. And I really like that. Another thing I love about the show is how the characters dress and how they present themselves. So specifically, I'm going to talk really quickly about Ava. Since I worked in a school, I'm not a fashion girly and I was never a corporate baddie, but I did work in schools and I dressed a certain way badly. I think I dressed more like Miss Chimenti, with like, just pants, a shirt, give me a jacket, keep it simple, keep it, because I had a wild and loud personality. So my clothes don't need to be doing all that. But I love, love, love Ava's wardrobe. I love how it is stylish. I love how it's professional. I love how it not shows off in a flashy way, but allows, her body to be seen. I think a lot of times when we think of school professionals, and I know I've been guilty of it, we do a lot of frumpy dressing, like cover it up, lots of long cardigans, we're swimming in shirts and fabrics and pants that are dragging on the ground and, flat shoes. The shoes are understandable, but the rest of it is questionable. And I love the fact that they don't do that with Ava. She's professional, but she is very much giving fashion plate. In fact, I posted on Instagram that I would love if somebody with some more energy and focus, somebody who was actually a fashion girly, started an Instagram account called What Ava Wore on Abbott. Now, I will tell you that there's actually a page on Instagram called Worn on TV, and they actually have plenty of her outfits. They tag where you can get them, so on and so forth. So somebody's already doing something like that. But as I was watching the episode, I just found myself so excited about the clothing. On the other side of that, though, there is Janine. And I was like many of the characters whenever she would walk into the room and just wondering sort of, what does she have on? I know Barbara asked her that several times. I know that she's asked that by a lot of characters. And I realized after watching the show for a little bit that Janine is like a Black Miss Frizzle, crazy patterns. Her wardrobe is meant to match her whimsy as a person, and I like that. Finally, I love what they do with Barbara's makeup. So, Cheryl Lee Ralph, she has these beautiful lips, this big bright smile. They could have chosen, though, to play down the lips, right? She could have done like a dark lip liner and like a nude, but every time you see Barbara, she's got these bright red lips. They did this one look on her in the first season where it was this bright red and pink ombre. And I decided then that if she ever teamed up with a cosmetics company and came out with like her own line of lip colors, like if it was like Barbara by Fenty, I'm buying it. I'm purchasing those. I want that. Yeah, that's something else that I love, is I love the way the characters present on camera. And speaking of that, just to step outside of wardrobe really quickly, and let's take a look at what those characters that I just mentioned look like. So while Abbott does have a diverse cast, it is a group of teachers that are at an all-Black Title I school in the inner city. And you do have Black teachers, and you have Black teachers featured. But the Black women that carry top billing on this show, it's very important to note that they're not ambiguously Black. And I only say that because for a long time, the standard in Hollywood has been to hire people who don't appear to be fully Black. You constantly hear the conversation about why Zendaya is so popular compared to maybe other Black actresses her age. And a lot of people say, well, it's because of colorism. It's because she's ambiguous. She's ethnically ambiguous. And whether or not that's true, it is something that often a lot of Black actresses will state that they've had to deal with while being in Hollywood. Just the reality of appearing fully phenotypically Black. And what I love about this show is you have 3 Black women who are not ethnically ambiguous. They are all darker skin or brown skin women. And they all look different. There's definitely some variety there. As someone who grew up in a time where that wasn't the norm, That's a beautiful thing to see. Beautiful thing to see. And so I wanted to note that as well. The other thing that makes Abbott special for me are the storylines. Like I said before, I wanted to avoid the show. I did, because some things were just too close to comfort. The step team, Janine organizing the step team, struggling with that, and getting that, man, you know me, you know, any school I worked at, I was like, let's get those girls out there. They're gonna cheer. I didn't do step, and there's a whole story there as well. But I know that. I've been there. When they did one shot where she's in the room, this small little gym practicing with them. Oh my God, that brought back so many memories. I was like, pause it, pause it, pause it. So that's very close to comfort. But there were also other things that really spoke to me, and I really appreciated them talking about when they talked about discipline for the kids. Being in a Title I school, working with predominantly children of color, predominantly Black children, there are a lot of very specific discipline issues that come up. But what I love about Abbott is that they talk about like the proper way to discipline a kid from many different angles, and that's a common issue that teachers do face. And so I appreciated the way they handled that. I also love the field trips and things that they take both the students and the teachers on, specifically the teacher conference that the teachers go to, and that's a place where Janine and Gregory kiss for the first time. If you didn't know, sorry I spoiled that for you. But what I love about that is that's a reality that I did not get to enjoy. I think I went on one conference and it was a hot mess. But actually, that's a very cool part about being a teacher, I think, are the conferences and things that certain people get to go on. I will say, if you're thinking about being a teacher, science teachers get to do the best conferences. They have the best opportunities at any school I've ever worked at. Science teachers have the best they have the best conferences, best opportunities. I loved those kind of storylines. So some things were a little bit like, ooh, too close, and some things were just really cool to watch the characters do and to experience. The final thing that I'll say that makes Abbott stand out to me, and is the reason why I think people love it so much, despite the fact that no, it's not, to me, it's not laugh out loud funny. I went into watching this show and I thought it was going to be like The Office. Like, I thought I was going to be just, man, I'm gonna be laughing. I thought it was gonna be, I had different ideas. But the thing that makes the show great, I think it can be summed up with what happens in the last episode of the second season. If you haven't seen it yet, spoiler, kind of. There is an issue with Janine and Gregory regarding their romantic nature and their feelings toward each other. And I'm thinking that it's going to get dramatic, because in the episodes leading up to it, they made it seem like we were really going to see something. Like it was going to be a show, right? But instead what we get is closure. Instead what we get is an understanding from the characters that even if what they wanted to happen here isn't going to happen, they're going to be okay, and their relationship is going to be okay. We get a feeling of peace. That episode reminded me of an Ed Sheeran song where the chorus is, you know, hearts don't break around here. There's been plenty of season finales, these ending episodes that have just left me on the floor, confused, in shambles. I'm in tears. What's going on? What's going to happen next? And that's not what Abbott as a show aims to do. It's not trying to break your heart, not trying to leave you confused, not trying to leave you emotionally stranded. They are building an environment almost like what good schools try and do for kids. When you check into this show, when you watch it, you will not leave feeling like your heart's dangling in a million pieces. You'll leave feeling warm, positive, and protected. There is a scene where Barbara's at her desk, and I think it's Janine comes in to talk to her, and Barbara's like, shh, you got to lower your voice. And Janine looks around and she sees that Barbara's students are sleeping on their mats. It's nap time. And I watched that scene and I felt very warm inside. I think I might have even gotten a little teary-eyed. It wasn't even supposed to be that deep, but I said to myself, wouldn't that be nice to be in Barbara Howard's classroom while she sort of protected you and you got to take a little nap? And I think that that's like the vibe of the show ultimately. The viewers are protected. The kids are protected. The characters are protected. Change is allowed to happen. People are allowed to grow. You're left with a sense of hope and kind of optimism for whatever may come. And most importantly, those stories, those lessons, those changes, that is being channeled through characters, through individuals, through archetypes that we're not used to, that kind of content being channeled through on a main public stage. I gotta tell you, when I knew Quinta was going to be coming out with a show, being familiar with her work on BuzzFeed and her work on social media, I did not expect an Abbott. I thought she was going to kind of give us the insecure treatment, right? I thought we were going to get a show about being in your 30s, being a single woman. Let's woo! But we kind of do. We see Janine explore and grow and go on dates and have whatever. But I did not expect Abbott. And as a former teacher and as just a watcher of TV and a lover of good TV, I'm happy that that's what we got. So no, I don't think that Abbott is the funniest show on TV. I do not. But I do think it's the best one. If for no other reason, then it is the type of show that is not here to shock and awe you. We've got enough of those. We've got enough shows you can watch and experience emotional damage. But it's the type of show that you can watch, you can cleanse the palate, you can feel safe, protected, warm. You can watch these characters that are not only heroes or only chaos. They're a good combination of both. And at the end of the day, you walk away feeling really good. And I think that that's just as important as feeling challenged or feeling thrilled or even laughing until like tears running down your face. So that is my updated review on Abbott Elementary. I am looking forward to the next season. And that is all I have for this video. Do you watch Abbott? What do you think? Do you find it really, really funny? Do you more so watch it for like feel good entertainment? Do you not care at all? Please let me know in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching.